There are fights that feel big because a belt is on the line. And then there are fights that feel big because they settle a question the entire division has been arguing about in fragments for months. That's what Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev is. Not just champion versus former champion. Not just striker versus wrestler. Not just two guys who clearly don't need help disliking each other. This one is really about something simpler and honestly, meaner. Can Sean Strickland's pressure, volume, and ugly old-school toughness drag Khamzat into the kind of fight where that aura starts to crack? Or are we about to watch Khamzat do to Sean what he did to Dricus, which is take a top middleweight and turn him into a hostage for 25 minutes? Because that's the part people keep dancing around. Everybody knows Sean is durable. Everybody knows Sean talks like he's permanently one bad coffee away from a misdemeanor. Everybody knows Khamzat can wrestle like the floor owes him money. But this fight is really about pace, posture, and who gets forced to fight out of character first. And that's why this matchup is good. Because Sean's whole game is built around making you work every second. He walks you down, stabs you with that jab, chips away at your rhythm, and turns clean technique into a weird little tax you keep paying until suddenly it's round 4 and you look annoyed, tired, and slightly haunted. Sean also owns a 61% significant strike defense rate and 77% takedown defense on UFC's official stats page, which tells you the style isn't just annoying on the eyes, it works. Now on the other side, Khamzat isn't some raw athlete with a gas pedal and a fan club. He is the middleweight champion for a reason. He's undefeated at 15-0, and the title win over Du Plessis wasn't just impressive because he won. It was impressive because of how badly he bent a champion out of shape with pressure wrestling. ESPN noted he landed 12 takedowns against Du Plessis, tied for the third most in a title fight since 2015, and UFC's stat leader pages have him among the better takedown operators and control time fighters on the roster. That matters, because when people talk about beating Sean Strickland, they usually picture the same thing. Something dramatic, something explosive, some movie scene knockout where he finally gets punished for marching forward like a guy who thinks defense is a liberal conspiracy. That's not the easiest path here. The easier path is probably uglier than fans want to admit. It's level changes, it's body locks, it's fence pressure, it's mat returns, it's forcing Sean to spend chunks of the fight resetting instead of building. And that's where this gets dangerous for Strickland. Sean is one of those fighters who gets stronger when he can live in his own rhythm. Front foot, jab, little shoulder roll, parry, jab again, march, talk to you, stare at you, make you mad, keep scoring. If he gets to do that for long stretches, he makes very good fighters look ordinary. We saw that against Israel Adesanya when he won the belt, and we just saw signs of his form still being sharp when he stopped Anthony Hernandez in February after outlanding him and stuffing Hernandez's lone takedown try. But Khamzat is not Adesanya, and he's not the version of Du Plessis Sean fought either. Khamzat's first gift is that he doesn't ask permission to start imposing himself. He doesn't spend half a round politely downloading information like he's updating software. He gets on you, fast. And if he feels your balance is wrong even a little, that takedown attempt is already on the way. That could be huge against Sean early. Because if Khamzat wins the first 7 or 8 minutes clearly, not just on optics, but on control, that changes the whole tone of the fight. Sean becomes the guy chasing the scorecards, and that is not where you want to be against somebody who can threaten a level change every time you try to open up. Now let's be fair to Sean, because this is where people get lazy. The lazy take is, Khamzat wrestles him, easy fight, next question. I don't buy easy fight. I still lean Khamzat, but not easy. Sean is one of the harder men in the sport to discourage. You don't just land one good sequence and watch him mentally leave the building. That man has the emotional tone of a gas station knife display. He just stays there. And that matters against a fighter like Khamzat, whose best work often comes when opponents get overwhelmed early and start making bad decisions. Sean usually does not make bad decisions out of fear. He makes bad decisions because Sean is Sean. Very different category. And there is another thing here that gives Strickland a real lane. Cardio over 25 minutes. Not because Khamzat can't go 5. We already watched him dominate a 5-round title fight against Du Plessis. That argument is outdated now. But there's a difference between can go 5 and wants a hard 5 with a guy who won't stop touching your face. Khamzat answered one question against Du Plessis. He did not answer every question forever. Sean's chance is not to be better everywhere. His chance is to make Khamzat work in layers. Defend the first shot. Stand up off the second sequence. Touch him on the break. Jab him on the way back in. Keep the numbers climbing. Keep the conversation uncomfortable. Because if this becomes one of those fights where Khamzat has to repeatedly wrestle hard, then box, then wrestle again, then deal with Sean still being right there in round 4, acting like he just got to the gym, now we have something. And this is where the storyline gets fun. The public tension between them is already stupidly personal. Khamzat recently said that in the cage, it's sport. But outside of it, if he dies, he dies. And Strickland fired back publicly, basically daring him to find him. Dana White has even acknowledged the UFC plans to keep them separated until fight time. So the promotion has a very easy sell here. Not manufactured bad blood, but actual mutual contempt. That's great for promotion. It is not always great for performance. And if there is one thing Sean would love, it's turning this from a technical title fight into an emotional bar fight in 5-ounce gloves. Because the more offended Sean gets, the more he tends to simplify. And simplified Sean can be dangerous. He's not trying to win a beauty contest. He's trying to make your night miserable. The problem is, Khamzat's offense is the kind of offense that can punish simplification. Walk too square, he shoots. Overcommit on the jab, he times the entry. Try to hold ground with pride, he locks hands and drags you into a wrestling match that is no longer on your terms. And there's one more uncomfortable truth for Sean. Even when his takedown defense holds up statistically, Khamzat's style isn't just about finishing clean doubles in open space. It's about chaining attempts, forcing the clinch, forcing the fence, forcing reactions. Sean's official UFC numbers are strong defensively, yes, but Khamzat is not an average middleweight wrestler asking standard questions. He's the type who makes your answers get worse as the round goes on. So let's boil this down. If Sean Strickland wins, it probably means he survived the first 2 rounds without getting buried under control time. It probably means the jab was there all night. It probably means Khamzat had to work for every takedown and couldn't hold him long enough to break the rhythm. And it probably means Sean turned this into a miserable, high-volume, late-round kind of fight where the champion had to keep making decisions while tired. That is Sean's map. If Khamzat Chimaev wins, it probably means he got to the legs or body lock early, controlled where the fight happened, and forced Sean to spend too much of the first half fighting hands and standing up. It probably means the threat of the takedown softened Sean's jab and froze some of his output. And it probably means the middle rounds looked less like a striking contest and more like a control-heavy title defense where Sean's toughness kept him alive but didn't keep him ahead. That is Khamzat's map. And right now, if I'm calling it straight, Khamzat's map looks more repeatable. That's the key word. not flashier, not more fun, more repeatable. Sean has to get several things right to win this fight. He has to defend early, deny control, keep volume high, manage distance, and stay disciplined enough not to chase a dumb brawl just because the insult package sold well on social media. Khamzat mostly has to do what he already did to a reigning champion. Pressure, wrestle, control, smother the clock. Make the other man fight your fight until frustration starts doing half the work for you. And that's why my prediction is this: Khamzat Chimaev by decision. I know he is the easy choice, and I do think Sean has moments. I think he wins stretches on the feet. I think his jab shows up, and I think there will be a round, maybe even two, where people start getting excited and saying, Khamzat is slowing down. But over 5 full rounds, I trust Khamzat's ability to force the kind of exchanges that bank minutes and steal momentum. I think Sean's toughness makes him hard to finish, but I also think that same toughness can work against him here, because staying in front of Khamzat and insisting on being the harder man is noble, admirable, and occasionally a very efficient way to lose minutes. So no, I don't think Sean gets run over. I don't think he gets exposed. I don't think this is some one-sided demolition job people can brag about afterward like they knew the answer all along. I think this is uglier than that, tighter than that, meaner than that. But I still think the belt stays with Khamzat, because unless Sean can keep this fight standing at a much higher rate than most people I've seen are expecting, he's going to spend too much time trying to reclaim the center of the cage instead of owning it. And against Khamzat, that's a dangerous place to live. Because the second you start fighting to get your fight back, you're already behind. Thanks for hanging around. I'll be running this full breakdown after the fight. I'm Reggie Cross for Behind the Lines. If you're feeling the vibe, hit that subscribe, and remember, height fades, legacy don't. Peace. 745